Once again, y'all, good night, everybody. How y'all doing? Y'all know who this is. This your boy Rob Thomas Jr., and this is the real news behind the news. Oh yeah, man, today it's still the same. It's a rainy Monday. It's raining hard in the mud here in Shreveport, and it got kind of chilly. Rainy Monday, March 14th, 2022. And I apologize for that unexpected interruption in the last video, but as y'all see in that short, y'all gotta start watching the shorts too. Yeah, we had to pull out the tablet, go and get this here done. I mean, y'all could tell it's a whole different video, whole different quality. It was supposed to be a secret. I was trying to get a couple of other devices and pieces of equipment together because, like I say, man, I want to take this channel to a whole nother level. I want to do everything I need to do. You know what I'm saying? Even shave my beard, get my mouth fit, getting pumped up on the weights. Everything I need to do to make all the people basically go out their way to support this channel, whether it be through your likes, your shares. Also, before I go any further, please make sure that you hit that little bell because everybody is telling me they don't get the notifications from YouTube when I do a video. Like for so long, you all have been expecting me to be inconsistent. I might back just 4 months ago, I do a video every 2.5 months almost. You know what I'm saying? It was just I was frustrated with the whole thing. But now that all the things that the creator has shown me are coming to pass just like he showed me years ago, and I was telling people all this stuff. Cause y'all, this just ain't some new fly by night channel. This channel been up and running for almost about 5 years. But throughout that now, this YouTube channel been up and running for about 4 years, 3, 4 years. But through it all, I never really took it serious. The stuff that I did, God has blessed me to do here in Shreveport for us the activism realm. I was not deliberately trying to put myself out there. It was an inspiration by the creator. You know how they say the Bible say it was created by God. It was an inspiration. When that landfill was burning on the Cooper Road, my cousin Marlon called me, and next thing you know, 6 months later, we fought it and shut it down. Not bragging. It was just something that had to be done, but nobody could do. Not taken from nobody else's effort because they had been trying for 40 years to shut that landfill down up there on the Russell Road. And let me give y'all some game. If you live here in Shreveport, you gotta realize you had a burning landfill right up there on the Russell Road, and it was burning for 10 years. It burned for 10 years underground. Meaning that all that stuff that the Harrison landfill was allowing people to bury, asbestos, lead, and they had people coming dumping shit up in there from 1 o'clock at 1 o'clock in the morning. Ain't no telling. Then these people were coming from other states at pre-dawn hours between 12 and 5. They was coming from other states, dumping stuff at a landfill that's less than 3/4 of a mile. It's less than half a mile from your city's water supply. You ever wonder why we can't fish back there no more on Cross Lake and all that? You wonder why we can't crawfish no more right on the Russell Road? That means for 10 years you had an underground dump burning, a whole landfill burning underground, less than a mile away from your city water supply. Every time it rained or whatever, that shit's going to your city water supply. And let me show you how silly these motherfucking politicians are here in Shreveport. Do y'all realize they're actually thinking about letting these motherfuckers put a gas pipeline or oil pipeline, natural gas pipeline under your city's water supply? If you live here in Shreveport, whenever they start talking about that pipeline up under Cross Lake, everybody, white, black, Hispanic, motherfucking midget Jews, everybody should be out there telling them, hell no. You're going to let them put natural gas pipeline up under your city's water supply when you had a landfill burning for 10 years. less than half a mile away from your city's water supply. Y'all know the EPA still ain't gave us the findings of their study of the water quality. They gave us the air quality and the soil quality, but they never told us about the water quality. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't know how I got on that subject, but let's talk about what I was talking about earlier. Let's finish this with the Federal Reserve, and we're going to show you how all this stuff ties in. Two, I don't want to seem like I'm being a religious fanatic, a Bible thumper, or a scripture quote or whatever, but all scriptures show you the past, present, and future, not just the Bible, like you Christians would like to think. All scripture, going back to the Mesopotamians, the Sumerians, all these scriptures point to a day and time where we're going to see catastrophic events upon the earth, such that it was never time before, nor shall it be a time like it afterwards. Now, I'm going to be real. I'm going to come a lot from the Bible in this, but I'm going to explain to you how the Federal Reserve, the war between Gog and Magog, y'all understand what that is? Gog and Magog? That's Russia, Germany, and all those countries. That was predicted in the Bible. Go look, do your research. Gog and Magog. Understand this war that we're seeing right now is amongst Gog and Magog. Babylon, like I was explaining earlier, was a commercial center. That's why in the last few chapters of Revelation, it talks about the ocean and how across the ocean there was going to be set up a government, a commercial center that would shine like no other commercial center in history, the United States. Sitting way on the other side of the water, but shining, unlike the Romans, the Greeks, the Persians, the Babylonians, who else? Basically, every great kingdom had a commercial center where they were the center of trade at that time during their dominance upon the earth. In the last part of Revelation, it talks about Babylon. Notice this. It talks about Rome and Babylon. Now, let me give y'all the significance of that. When it talks about that beast that had his feet up on 10 hills, do you all realize all Western Europe, and including the United States, are a part of the revised, resurrected Roman Empire? Yes, the 10 hills that they talk about sits over in Rome, over in Italy. There's 10 mountains, 10 hills. Rome will be revived. You got to go back to Daniel. When he saw that statue, this top part had a head of gold. It was gold, gold, silver, bronze, then brass mixed with clay. Each one of those parts of that statue that Daniel saw in his dream represented a point in history, different kingdoms. The last kingdom was the calf muscles on down to the feet, because the strongest kingdom on that statue was the Roman Empire that Daniel saw. He saw that Roman Empire, the strongest part of your body are the thighs. The thighs represented Rome, and they was mixed of, I think it was, I don't want to be wrong. I got to go back and research it real fast, but I ain't going to stop the show to do it. That Roman Empire was a mixture. I think you're just going to say the thighs was brass. The Roman Empire, the new empire that was going to rule in the last days, which was from the knees on down to the feet, was a mixture of brass and clay, meaning it would be a resemblance of that former empire that was the strongest in human history, but it was going to be fragile. That's why it was mixed with clay. This is why the United States has a Senate. Y'all understand that? Where else do you hear about a Senate in world history? The Roman Empire. So the last days, there was going to be a revised Roman Empire. Now, if you want to get deep, let's go with Go back to Revelation 13:16. He said he causes all men, small, great, rich or poor, free or bond, to take a mark. Except that you had this mark, you would not be able to buy or sell anything. Watch over the next year and a half, they already talking about it now. They just came out, your mainstream media even floated the idea out there to you. When they float the idea out there to you, that's something that's coming down the pipeline. When they're talking about a digital dollar, shit like cryptocurrency, notice back 20 years ago, if you got SSI and all that, you used to get a paper check. Like I said earlier in the first video, your checks, federal checks, your birth certificate, your social security card, all of it is printed on the same paper. Let me go back. Meaning that what I wanted to say earlier, meaning that when you are born, you are given a birth certificate. Do you realize, like I said earlier, America is really a ship. It's an incorporation. America is an incorporation. Your president is the CEO of the corporation that's called America. Again, going back to the ancient civilizations and kingdoms, maritime law always ruled. This is why your courtrooms, you really believe it or not, your courtrooms are set up like ships. And that's another video, but I'm giving you all understand maritime law rules. This is why you have to get a lawyer to understand the legal vernacular of what's being said in the courtroom. A lot of it is Latin, but it's all based upon the laws of the oceans. Again, this is why the last part of Revelation talks about the oceans, and over the oceans that great harlot Babylon would arise, America. But you got to understand, it was talking about America in a commercial sense. Hence, going back to Revelation 13, the mark of the beast ain't no motherfucking 666 in your forehead. It ain't no 666 in your hand. It is a number. Bible says a number of a man, a number of a king, whatever. But it is a number. Meaning, let me show y'all again. Real deep knowledge. This shit gonna blow your mind. Anything that's digital, when you watching me right now, this video, everything that you see in here is based on a series of ones and zeros. Now they're talking about a digital currency. They already got you hip to direct deposit. Everything is paperless. They said we got to save the trees, so we need to save paper. Instead of cutting down the trees, we can do without paper. But guess what? The more and more you get integrated into an electronic and digital system, the closer you come to Revelation 13:16, where he say again, he causes everybody, small, great, rich, or poor, free or in servitude, to take a mark. Lest that you had this mark, you would not be able to buy or sell anything. It was talking about your finances. The mark was just the fucking the vehicle that the mark of the beast would be carried on. The mark right now, believe it or not, is your credit card, your debit card, your cell phone. Anything that allows you to conduct business electronically, that's what the mark of the beast is. But now, even now, we're seeing that they are putting microchips inside of people. That's a mark, because when you go back and translate it back to the original vernacular, mark, whether it be Greek or Latin or whatever, it meant something on your skin, in your skin. If it's in your hand or your forehead, that means you remember your social security number, which again ties back into your birth certificate. Because on a ship, what do they call the place that you lay down every night? Your berth. That means if you're an American citizen and you was born here in America, you got a birth certificate showing that you was born alive on this ship, this corporation called America, and they issued a motherfucking $40,000 loan in your name. This is why your birth certificate is on the same paper that your checks are printed on. Because nigga, before you die, you gotta pay America $40,000 in taxes just for being born on this ship. And what lets you know you were born on this ship? Your birth certificate. And this shit gets so deep. But it ties in back to the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve now issues you that birth certificate. Somebody got to pay for that debt that was created in your name by you being birthed on the ship that is known as America. This shit gonna, I know y'all ain't following me, it sounds crazy, but you got to understand maritime law. We know, y'all should know for a fact that America is a corporation. Do you realize corporations started with the shipping industry? And according to maritime law, the laws of the oceans, you get your land, the laws of the land. This is why you have to go to a courtroom and you have to say, Your Honor, may I approach the bitch? That's the same thing if you've been in the Navy or you ever been on a ship or you've been on the ocean. You have to ask permission from the captain or whatever vessel you're on to approach. He's set up on a bench, just like your judges. Your courtrooms are nothing more than the ships. Motherfucking the captain's mast, the place where the captain do all the ship's business. That's what your courtrooms are. Think about it. And this is a whole other video, but I'm tying it into the Federal Reserve. Let me fast forward again. Back in 1912, Woodrow Wilson allowed a bunch of bankers to create a fictional motherfucking entity called the Federal Reserve. Meaning, under that law, the Federal Reserve Act, Woodrow Wilson gave the banks the ability and sole control of the nation's economy through its revenue system, meaning the money. This is why you hear so much about the Federal Reserve, but that shit is not a government institution, because under the Constitution, that shit would be illegal for a bunch of rich ass old white dudes, bankers, to come together, take control of your government's economy. I think it was David Rockefeller said, I don't give a fuck who's the president or the king of whatever country. Just let me control the money. This is why your corporations are at war with Russia right now. We're dealing with something that's way bigger. And as we go over the next, however long it takes, every day, whether I upload a video or just do something live, I am going to bring you all up to speed on the history, real history of the motherfucking world. Everybody got bits and pieces of history that they want to present, because history is written by those who won the latest war. And I can break that shit down how we as black people telling these folks to take these statues down. That's the worst motherfucking thing we could do as black people. Notice, do them Jews tell them to tear anything that remind them of the Holocaust down? Fuck no. Why is it that throughout history, every kingdom that conquered and ran over and destroyed another kingdom erased that kingdom's history? Your monuments, your libraries, your books, your poems, they erased all that shit. You know why? Because now it's easy for them to introduce propaganda to to that generation that they just conquered, and the new generations will never know the greatness of their history if you take all the monuments down. So here in America, they're erasing history. A lot of us like to talk about erasing history, but don't understand how that shit go. They cannot really just literally erase history, because history speaks for itself. But if they tear the physical reminders of history down, then indoctrinate your children To the point now they're telling our kids that, well, yes, America was a great country, and you had a few indentured servants that came over here that were looking for a better life. They were black Africans, yeah, they were looking for a better life, and they worked, and it was under brutal conditions, but they worked for 400 years, and eventually they became citizens. What the fuck? This is what they teaching your kids, and you tear your statues and monuments down. Guess what happened? 25 years from now, the parents, much less the kids, don't even fucking know the true history of slavery because they erased that shit right before your eyes, using you to do it. They can't go and just really change shit for us rewriting books and shit for the public, novels and no, they have to indoctrinate your kids through your public school system. And when they indoctrinate your kids through the public school system and take down the physical reminder of Thomas Jefferson, who was one of their greatest presidents, but was fucking the shit out of black women, getting all these black kids, and while he's a slave owner. All them folks that say we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal were fucking hypocrites. Because guess what? Black men and women were standing on the auction block next to horses, fucking pigs. So we weren't considered human at that time. So anyway, you take the monuments down of these racist ass slave owners 25 years from now. You never knew slavery existed the way that it did in America. You want to know how I ain't lying? In the most recent example, Tiananmen Square in China. How many of y'all remember what happened in Tiananmen Square? That's when they showed you that one Chinese dude standing in front of that tank, and eventually that tank ran his motherfucking ass over. If not him, a bunch of other people tried that shit and got ran over because China crushed that. And keep in mind, this was only like less than 30 years ago. China crushed that rebellion, and from that day forth, took down anything. You can't even get on the internet coming up close to the Tiananmen Square massacre and find anything about it because China will not allow it. And guess what? Here we are only 30 years later, and you got people that was living then and all the generations since then don't even know what happened. This is how you erase history, but I digress for a minute. Yeah, give me just 1 second. Fuck. Oh, give me just 1 second. And I'm back. Now, tying out all that shit into the Federal Reserve. Even talking about corporations, do you all realize that you had entities like the British, the East India Company, and all those things? They were ships. They were merchants. They traveled over the seas throughout the whole world. At that time, the British was the most powerful company on the planet, and they were basically colonizing India and all that shit up. All right, they created corporations. Now, let me show you how the banks got all the power. And I'm going to show you how it happened when Napoleon went to Waterloo. And you got to understand who the Rockefellers are. Not the Rockefellers, but the Rothschilds. Now, that was David Rothschild I meant to talk about earlier, who said, there was David Rothschild who said, I don't give a fuck who your king, your president, or whoever run that country. Just let me control the money. Now, let me fast forward. Even with slavery, let me show you how the corporations, again, going back to how America is a corporation, America is a ship. When they were doing the slave trade, what they were doing, they were taking humans from Africa and other places on the planet, transporting them over the seas, which made your insurance companies have to consider these humans and other cargo as cargo on a ship. If you're born on a ship, it was a record of your birth. If you step on a ship, it's a record of you stepping on that ship. Again, that's going with your immigration and all that shit, or you know what I'm saying, your passports and all that shit. You have to have a record when you step on any other country's soil. If you're coming from another country, that's all again going back to maritime law. And y'all bear with me because this shit gonna get a lot. It's gonna get interesting, but I got to give you the brief history of how this shit ties in with Russia today. So now you got companies who are controlling the trade industry. This is how it always happened throughout history. But when the British came along and the Jews, the real Illuminati, I know y'all, this is going to be deep. A lot of y'all talk about that Illuminati shit and don't understand your rappers and entertainers can't be in the fucking Illuminati because they don't own the studios, the airways, you know what I'm saying? They don't own the banks. The real Illuminati are the motherfucking, they call them the blue bloods. And the reason why they say they blue bloods, because they believe that they are descendants from the alien beings who created Earth. This shit is a little too deep for me to talk about it right now, but I'm giving y'all understand. The real Illuminati started under Joseph Weishaupt, who was a Jewish, he was a teacher, basically. That's what your real Illuminati started. And all it meant was the enlightened ones, the ones who found all the hidden knowledge when they destroyed Egypt. Y'all realize Egypt had one of the greatest libraries in world history. Egypt had the past, the present, and the prophecies of the future, and they destroyed it, and they kept the knowledge for themselves. This is what they do with religion. This is why they use religion to enslave you. But again, going back now, the corporations were transporting motherfucking slaves from one part of the earth to the other. Every time a slave died, they throw him overboard. I said it, like that wasn't my motherfucking, anyway, they throw him overboard. The insurance companies would pay for it. So it was a big hustle, big scheme. Now, when Napoleon went to Waterloo, he thought he was going to have a victory, and everybody knew that Napoleon was what you would call like a Hitler. Some of y'all might call him a Putin or whatever. But Napoleon marched on Waterloo. There was a false messenger dispatched back to Great Britain with a false message that said 3-4 days before Napoleon even arrived in Waterloo, saying that Napoleon had defeated the people at Waterloo. The British fucking stock market, the London stock market, at that time it was London, the London stock market, I mean, literally collapsed. The Rothschilds was able to buy up pretty much every business on the face of Europe for pennies on the dollar. This is why today, believe it or not, that one family, the Rothschild family, got more wealth than everybody else on the face of the planet put together. They own damn near 3/4 of everything on this planet. The Rothschilds. You gotta go back and do your research. Now, after that happened, bam, your bankers come in and take control of, at that time, the London, the European motherfucking financial system. This is how your wars start. Because your bankers need wars because they need the military industrial complex to come to them, borrow money. They need your federal government to come and borrow money to give to the military industrial complex. Now, once they borrow that money, the military industrial complex makes motherfucking bombs, airplanes. Why do you think they call it the military industrial complex? They're not making motherfucking Girl Scout cookies at Boeing. You might see a couple of nice, pretty, shiny airplanes at the airport when you're going on your vacation. But you know where they make the most of their motherfucking money? Making stealth fighters, stealth bombers, F-19s, motherfucking Patriot missiles, Javelin missiles, anti-aircraft missiles, bullets, guns. This is what your military industrial complex makes. And the banks loan your government all your tax money to pay these motherfuckers 100 billion since Trump, when Trump got in office. Now let me give y'all that. Barack Obama had dropped so many motherfucking bombs on drone strikes, sending motherfuckers back to Afghanistan, back to Iraq, into Libya, giving Saudi Arabia motherfucking weapons to bomb Yemen. Barack Obama in his 8 years dropped more motherfucking bombs than Bush and Cheney. I love the fact that he was, I ain't gonna even say he was first black president, because he was not really a nigga. He wasn't damn one of us. His mama was white. He was raised around white folk. He was born way the fuck, wherever the fuck he was. He was not one of us. They're not gonna give you me as a president. Cause I say fuck and all that shit a lot. And I would not be playing games with foreign leaders. I would not be playing games with police here in Shreveport. I would be the nigga that they would literally assassinate, because I would be a real nigga. I understand the motherfucking struggle that we've been through, because we all been through it. Whether you successful right now or whether you still struggling in the hood, you've been through the struggle. Barack Obama ain't never been through our motherfucking struggle. Shit. His mama, think about it, his mama was white. Who was she related to? Probably them Bushes or somebody. That's how they gave you a Negro. But I gotta give Barack his props. And I'll do that later on. Let me keep going. I don't want to digress. So now, your nations have become ships, vessels. Their whole mentality is making money for the corporations, which in a sense makes money for the citizens, because the corporations hires the citizens, but the citizens are being worked the shit out of by the corporations, disrespected by the corporations, giving their labor up to a corporation that say, well, if you say the wrong thing on your Facebook page, nigga, we gonna fire you from Walmart. The corporations now control your politicians, your banking system, and now you and I as a taxpayer. Because again, how many of y'all glad y'all spent y'all tax money? Y'all went to work over the last 8 years to pay all this money to murder 350,000 people in Yemen. How many of y'all glad of that shit? Oh, y'all might not even know that you've been doing this shit. How many of y'all glad that your hard-earned tax money went to murder 1 million people in Iraq under George Bush now? How many of y'all glad of that shit? Most times you didn't even really think about it until I just said it. Your tax dollars for the last 30 years have been going to fund war. Let me show you some hypocrisy. Let's speed this shit up. And we'll come back to the Federal Reserve. They're going to be a whole nother video. Now, war. Good God. Huh. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing but making old rich white men money. To the point, how the fuck do we as America think we can fuck with Russia when we just spent 20 years in Afghanistan and Iraq and got our ass whooped? We got our ass whooped so bad in Afghanistan, we left a whole bunch of motherfucking Americans behind and told them, figure out a way to get home, nigga. We're not coming back over there. Think about it. We spent 20 years in Afghanistan fighting some niggas that don't even have shoes. And lost. We lost Vietnam. Then we turned around and lost Afghanistan. We lost Iraq. But all the while, we over there for 20 years in Vietnam, in Afghanistan and Iraq. Your hard-earned tax dollars every fucking week when FICA was taking all that shit out your paycheck, you'd be like, who the fuck is FICA? FICA ain't washed damn dish. FICA ain't cut nail yard. FICA ain't made damn business deal, but FICA was getting a big part of your check. You know where that shit was going? To kill the people in Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, Libya. They use your money to fund terrorists who murdered Saddam Hussein on national TV, worldwide TV. Notice, I'm gonna give y'all some game. This side note, but I'm gonna give y'all some game. Notice this. They showed you Saddam Hussein being hanged. Soon as he came back from the Hague over in Germany, after we found him, after the United States found him hiding under the ground in Iraq, they took him way over to Germany or over to Europe at the Hague. That's why they do all the war crimes and shit at. All right, they found him guilty, brought him back to Iraq, and before he could have a trial in Iraq, the United States funded motherfucking Al Qaeda. At that time, it was Al Qaeda. Snatched that man up out that motherfucking cell. Soon as they brought him in, that same day, they snatched him up outside that cell and hung him on national TV here in America. We saw that shit. They made sure they showed you Saddam Hussein getting hung. They showed you Gaddafi getting beaten all the way. If you find some, you ain't gonna be able to find them. They showed you video where Gaddafi was actually sticking the barrels of their gun in that man's behind. They brutalized Gaddafi all the way to the point they murdered him. And guess what? They showed you that shit on worldwide TV and even American TV. But guess what? They ain't never showed us one picture of a dead Osama bin Laden. Notice that shit. Show us a picture where you actually killed Osama bin Laden. You know why they can't show you that? Because Osama bin Laden had already been dead. The Prime Minister of Pakistan told you that shit back in what, 2004, 2005? Benazir Bhutto, the Pakistan Prime Minister at that time, told you that Osama bin Laden was dead and they were using him as a boogeyman. And guess what? 2 weeks after she told you that she was dead, she got blew up in a terrorist attack. Yeah, I realize I'm giving you all history so you all can understand what's going on in Russia right now. So Russia went to Afghanistan and lost. Yep. Great Britain went to Afghanistan and lost. Afghanistan is the poorest country, one of the poorest countries in a sense on the planet. But they got all them rare earth minerals and shit now that everybody trying to go over there and get. But at that time, Afghanistan, the only thing they had was opium. That's all they had was opium. This is where you get your opioid crisis from. Boy, this shit, it's just like layers. You know how when you cut an onion, you just keep pulling off layer after layer? That's what you fucking got. And you got to understand what's going on around the rest of the world to understand why your goddamn gas prices are so high today. Why you go to some grocery store, they don't even have certain items on the shelf. You go to some grocery store, motherfucking shit that was $2.37 last week, and then they're $5 now. You got to understand world history. You got to understand recent history. You got to understand all this shit to understand that here we are now. That same military industrial complex that I was telling y'all about earlier is using the guys of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. Notice when they're talking about war on these TVs, when they're talking about Russia, they're not saying the United States. They're saying NATO, which is nothing more than the United States. They're sending motherfucking weapons, going back to your tax dollars, starting with Donald Trump again. He boosted shit. Before Trump, they were spending $500 billion a year. Trump came in and started spending damn near $7.8 trillion. Now billion. Let me go back. They were spending $500 billion before Trump. Obama had dropped so many goddamn bombs, Trump had to come in and replenish the whole military. That's why he boosted up another $300 billion to almost $1 trillion. Trump brought it up to where we at now. They're asking $800 billion a year from you and I to make bombs to go kill motherfuckers around the world that your oil companies don't like. That your pharmaceutical companies want to rob them for their drugs and bring that shit back here and create an opioid crisis. Same people who created the, who trying to stick a vaccine in your arm, created the motherfucking opioid crisis. Do y'all understand that, man? The pharmaceutical companies created a fucking crisis where now they're giving little white girls and white boys who got hooked on Loratab, Oxycontin, and Xanax and all that shit that's opioids. They're giving them motherfucking damn near free rehab. But when it was crack epidemic, wasn't no goddamn rehab, nigga. It was just jail. We got to shut rehab down. We don't have no money for this shit. But now, your pharmaceutical company, the same one trying to get you to stick something in your motherfucking arm, talking about a vaccine, it got to pay $600 billion to little white boys and white girls who got hooked on motherfucking opium. What about all the black boys, black girls who still in the penitentiary 30 years later behind some shit called a crack epidemic? They ain't give a fuck about us, did it? Again, going back to the slave ships and the cargo, we were considered cargo. The Irish too. Now we gotta keep in mind the Irish suffered just as much as the black people did. But my job is not to talk about them. They should get a white boy call this name the real news that's almost behind the news. Because I'm here for black people. I'm here for all God's people, but I speak mostly for my people. Yeah. This is how it goes down. Now, your Federal Reserve, your corporation now, under the 1912 Federal Reserve Act, your government created allowed the bankers to create a false currency system. And guess now what they got to create to make sure you pay this goddamn money? The IRS. None of that shit is part of your federal government, believe it or not. The Federal Reserve is the motherfucking money, the institution, the banks that loan your government the money, and the IRS is the Federal Reserve's motherfucking kick door man that's auditing you and I. Some of the lowest, believe it or not, what's happening right now, they're auditing some of the lowest paying some of the poorest taxpayers in America. You know why? Because you and I don't have money to buy a motherfucking lawyer and get that shit dismissed within the first month after they bring up an audit saying you owe this much. Now, you and I ain't got no money to pay no goddamn lawyer because we still trying to pay these high-ass gas prices, high-ass food prices that the same people who print the money, the Federal Reserve, loan your government so they can go make motherfucking weapons, send that shit overseas while you starving. Your motherfucking President Joe Biden, when he first got in office, you know the first thing that nigga did within the first month was shut down the oil coming from the Keystone pipeline. Why do you think that's so? He paying off somebody. Guess what? I guarantee you within the next 2 weeks, mark my words, y'all going to see this nigga here as a prophet, but I ain't no prophet. I'm just a nigga that's doing what God called me to do. In the next 2 weeks, after begging Venezuela, who we fucked over, tried to put a puppet government there, and Iran, your president is begging those two countries right now for oil. He gonna open the Keystone pipeline, but guess why he gonna open it? It ain't because says we really, really need the oil. He gonna open it now because the motherfucking politicians, the same ones I told y'all about in that earlier video, invested all their goddamn money in January of this year into the energy companies, knowing that Russia was gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna have a stranglehold. Now, if they for every dollar they invested, they get almost $2,000 back. This is your politician. Just imagine if you and I had that knowledge, that inside knowledge in January that Russia was finna invade. I ain't gonna say invade, that Russia was finna conduct an operation in Ukraine, and it was gonna cause oil prices all around the world to fucking skyrocket. When you and I had came up and say, fuck groceries this month, I'm gonna take this $400, $100 a week that the nigga spend on groceries. I'm gonna take that and invest in at least 5 shares of this one company, energy company. If you'd have did that, you'd have been almost But just say for every 100, you'd made almost, you'd made over 2,000, almost 20,000. Put it like this: your politician just ran the coldest motherfucking game on the planet, but guess what? They were not thinking about the real consequences. They pushed Russia into a fucking corner, starting back after World War II when they created NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a bunch of companies in Western Europe and America who got to make bombs and put them in other countries. How do they make bombs? The military industrial complex. Going back to this corporation. I ain't even talking about how this shit play in Bible prophecy. I've been going 45 minutes. Hey, as y'all come in, man, let me get y'all comments, man. Let me see if ain't nobody coming. Oh yeah, you know what? I ain't looked at none of y'all comments. Hands say, let's get this shit going. Hands say, feet and toes are part of iron, part of clay. Part clay. Exactly, Hands. So you with me. Jackson Boy say, what's up, my brother? What's up, Jackson Boy? Man, I apologize. I ain't been looking at y'all or comment. Jackson Boy say, these folks are talking about a no-fly zone on Russia. You know what that means? They're fucking assholes. They're fucking dumbass. Oh my God. You got to be the dumbest person on the planet to see what you pushed Russia to, and Russia responded. Again, they knew Russia was going to respond. Why do you think they invested all that money earlier this year? The same politician that's talking about war, fuck Russia. Let go put the Ukraine. Notice, they ain't talking about us going to fight Russia. They said, we're going to give Ukraine all these weapons. Guess what? How the fuck? All right, let me explain the no-fly zone to you, Jackson Boy. Let me explain this shit here. There are no more military airfields in the Ukraine. Russia done destroyed all that shit. Putin said his mission was to demilitarize and denazify the Ukraine. Again, going back, we spent all this money in the last 8 years arming a bunch of fucking Nazis in that country of the Ukraine. This shit is, even the mainstream media can't deny it. They're just trying. That's another. How they gonna try to deny the fact? Sanitize the fact that these are Nazis, the same people who murdered all those Jews in World War II. The Azov Battalion, go and study all that shit. But now Russia, in its quest to demilitarize the Ukraine, has destroyed all those motherfucking air bases. So where you gonna land a plane from Poland? Poland is saying, United States, we're gonna send all these MiGs to Ukraine, and y'all give us these brand new F-29. I think the United States just created a new generation of matter of fact, I know they did, but they say the shit don't really work. That's why the shit ain't been produced mass, because they didn't get the radar system. Everything Russia got in the air is shooting shit down. That Ghost of Kiev shit they told y'all about, notice you ain't heard shit else about that. That was propaganda. Ain't no motherfucking one pilot shot down 6 motherfucking Russian jets in one day. That shit is not possible. Because physically, if he flying the same jet the Russians flying, guess who got an advantage? The motherfucking Russians. All that was propaganda. So now you're talking about creating a no-fly zone. In order to do that, that means there are no air bases for you to land. That means to conduct any sorties in the Ukraine, you got to fly from the country that was given those planes, meaning Poland and other countries. Guess what's going to happen? Putin is going to shoot them motherfuckers down. And now you have given him a reason to look at you as a hostile combatant. Do y'all realize how deep this shit gets? The United States Secretary General Anthony Blinken just gave the green light to go ahead and get these planes and y'all mount a defense against the Russians. You know why again? Because the Russians done tore their ass up. The Russians done destroyed. Jackson Boy say if one Russian plane gets shot down, now it's gonna start World War III. This is what I'm gonna say, Jackson Boy. It's deeper than that because Russia has told the world any motherfucker that sent an airplane into Ukraine is a part of the motherfucking problem, and I'm going to deal with you. This is literally. Did not ever think that he was going to deal with the Ukraine, did he? And you know why he dealing with the Ukraine? Because again, going back to your tax dollars, for the last 8 years, starting with Barack Obama, they overthrew the government of Ukraine, been sending billions of dollars of weapons right there. This is the Ukraine. This is Russia. Ukraine sits right here. Ukraine sits right here on Russia's doorstep. And NATO, now again, notice they're not saying, y'all hear that thunder, it's raining like a motherfucker here in Shreveport. They're not saying that the United States is going to defend Ukraine. They're saying the NATO alliance, the European community. You know why? Because the United States push that shit up. That's just like two niggas. I mean, you got a bully on the playground, and he pushed one little boy up to fight the other little boy, but the other little boy is supposed to be scared because he know the bully got him fighting this other little boy. But Russia's like, nigga, fuck that. We taking on the bully. Ukraine is just a motherfucking side note for Russia. The whole message from Russia is you got us fucked up. We told y'all, stop playing with us. For 8 years, y'all been killing all these goddamn Russians in the Donbass area. Gotta understand that shit though. Y'all been killing, y'all been killed 14,000 people in just the last 8 years. Y'all burned damn near 100-some people alive the day of the coup. When I say coup, Victoria Nuland and all of them. Go listen at the phone call she had with the people, officials in Ukraine when she told them. Let me show you that something. The Klitschko boy. Y'all remember the Klitschko brothers, the two boxers, heavyweight champions? One of them is the motherfucking mayor of Kiev. He was running for president. The Klitschko brothers, the boxers, heavyweight boxers. White balls were bad in the ring. But one of them is a mayor of Kiev. He wanted to be the president, but Victoria Nuland, go ahead and study her name, find out who she is. What she said before Congress last week, talking about she actually admitted, and I know they mad as fuck at her because she admitted the biological weapon shit was true. All right, but going back, oh man, this shit is deep. I can talk about it all night, but I can't because I've been on here for 53 minutes right now. Battle is money night. This is why I'm gonna be real. Let me. Well, now, fuck it. I'm gonna keep going where I'm going. If I take 2 hours, fuck it. As long as y'all up with me, man, y'all leave, y'all come. Jack Boy say, what happened in World War II? You wanna know what happened in World War II? If it was not for Russia, there's no way in the fuck the United States and Great Britain or Europe would have defeated Adolf Hitler. If it was not for Russia, and Hitler would not have divided his armies on 2 different fronts. That's the only thing that caused the Germans that motherfucking war. Hitler was full of them methamphetamines and all the motherfucking pills that he was creating, giving to his soldiers to create that motherfucking spectacular ass war machine. Farrakhan was right. Hitler was a great motherfucking general. I'm not gonna say he was a great man because he was a piece of shit. He caused the death of a lot of people. Now, he was not a great man, but he was one of the greatest motherfucking generals of all time. But them drugs that he was fucking taking, because again, methamphetamine was created by the German scientists during World War II as a means to get them motherfucking German soldiers the oomph that they needed to go and destroy the shit that they were destroying. Them niggas had took over damn near half of Europe before America got in. And even with America in that war, there was no way in the fuck Europe and America would have beat Hitler until he split his motherfucking army. Dumbest shit you could ever do, but that's what you do when you're on drugs. You do dumb shit when you're on drugs. This man split his armies. Now he's fighting Russia. They got 150, 200 million motherfucking people they can send at his ass. Who was the first person? Who was the first country in what's the capital of Germany? In Berlin. Who was the first country to capture and occupy Berlin? It wasn't no motherfucking allied country. It was Russia. Who was the first one in those concentration camps? It wasn't the European and American allies. It was fucking Russia. If it was not for Russia, motherfucking World War II would have ended with everybody in America under German indoctrination, under Nazi indoctrination. But you got to realize, after the war, they brought a whole bunch of them motherfucking Nazis here. And this is why they're able to form the Nazis in the Ukraine today. Same people that murdered all them Jews and all these black folks and all these other people, the Nazis who didn't give a fuck, they said we was inferior. Guess what? That's who your tax dollars. 13 billion they finna send them this week. Over the last few months, they've been sending them 60 some billion every other 7-8 months. Putting weapons into the Ukraine, knowing that they're tempting Russia. Russia is going to respond. This is why they kept telling us over the last few weeks before Russia actually did notice. Before Russia actually went into the Ukraine, they were telling us, we know Russia going to attack. We know they're going to attack. You know why they know? Because they were giving the motherfucking weapons to the Ukraine, hoping that the Russians attack. After they overthrew the Ukraine government 8 years ago, murdered all them goddamn Russians, they knew Russia was going to attack. And you know what they did? Instead of telling us the truth, them same motherfuckers that been sending your tax dollars and my tax dollars to the Ukraine, to Iraq, to Syria, to motherfucking Afghanistan. Do y'all realize how much motherfucking money of your tax dollars, when you get up and go to work in the morning, Friday, when you get paid, it's going to be somebody named FICA. Take a big chunk out of your paycheck. You know where that shit's going? They're right now behind on payments for shit like Social Security, SSI, and all that shit. They behind on them payments because right now it's a wartime economy. We got to send all this money to the Ukraine. Damn near 25,000 people are homeless just between LA and motherfucking San Francisco. You don't give a fuck about them, do you? You murdered all these people using our tax dollars. I don't think that Biden is not in fucking control. Biden probably got to wear a pamper right now. He got to wear a pamper. Biden is a fucking Alzheimer's patient. Let me give y'all some game. Did y'all know what did Ronald Reagan eventually die from? What was he suffering from in his last few days? Alzheimer's. Ronald Reagan was a motherfucking, he had the early stages of Alzheimer's when he ran for office. He won that election. Pay attention. Nancy Reagan had to coach Ronald Reagan through everything because he was an Alzheimer's patient. Yeah, something else. I think it was Roosevelt. Yeah, I think it was Roosevelt. Hold on, let me find out. Make sure. I don't want to get y'all. Had polio. One of the presidents had polio. You never know it because they never showed you him publicly unless he was sitting down already. They cover this shit up. Biden is not in control. Biden barely can read that motherfucking teleprompter in front of him. He can't even read that motherfucker without slurring his words. He's heavily drugged up. He really just want to go home and play with his kitty cat. Biden can't take Putin serious. But I can show you a video where Biden actually told us in 1997 that this was going to happen. Oh, yeah, matter of fact, I'm going to have to start. This is another reason why I be needing y'all to donate. I showed y'all look at that one video, the short I did. I showed y'all all the tablet. There's things I'm doing behind the scenes, and I like to thank Brother Lee, and I don't know how to pronounce your name, Sister Taraja or whatever. Y'all help me do some things that this channel is gonna be gonna be upgraded technically. And if they take this one down, guess what? It's gonna be up on Rumble. Remember I told y'all earlier today I set up that Rumble account. I'm gonna give y'all the address to it tomorrow. Y'all notice I'm being consistent because shit has gotten too serious for me to play games. It hasn't got too serious. All those things that God has been showing me over the last 10 years. And I was like, man, I ain't finna say this shit, man. I ain't finna get on that. Them folk gonna call me, already call me crazy and say I be big and this shit and this. Everything that God has shown me 10 years ago has come to pass today. To the point we standing at the precipice of World War III. Let me see y'all comment. Jackson Boy say 100. Who that was called black folk predator? Who that was called black? Well, you got a lot of people call them predators. It was Hillary Clinton, though. Hillary Clinton called them super predators. That goes back to the 1992 crime bill. When her husband was president, do y'all realize in the crime bill, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and a few others got together, and that's where you get your 3-strike law at. So good question, Jackson boy. It was Hillary who called us super predators. And from that moment on, now keep in mind what your racist ass president Joe Biden said back then. When they created the 1992 crime bill, that started enforcing the crack cocaine law. But guess what? Crack was not even an issue before the 1992 crime bill. But when gangster music came out, well, crack came out, gangster music came out, then you had the introduction of private prisons. Yeah, we got to start locking these niggas up for this crack epidemic. We ain't got no goddamn money for no rehabs. Fuck them. What that boy said in The Godfather, the nigga, feed it to the niggas. They animals anyway. Let them lose their soul. This was said in the movie, The Godfather. Y'all gotta go watch that one part. If you don't do nothing but watch that one part, what's that boy name? Marlon Brando was The Godfather. And they were talking, what we're gonna do with all this new drugs, all this cocaine that's coming in here from Colombia, which the American government through CIA was bringing through the Iran-Contra affair. That's a whole nother video. But they bring that cocaine in here, and they were saying, fuck it, let's give it to the niggas. They're animals. Let them lose their soul. But when it was just cocaine, the shit was too expensive. So they created crack. Now you had a crack epidemic in the mid-'80s, going up into the 90s. When it hit the 90s, now the shit hadn't spread all across the country, thanks to Freeway Ricky Ross, the real Ricky Ross, the real Freaky, I said Freaky, the real Freeway Ricky Ross created that motherfucking corridor where he started transporting that crack across the country. Next thing you know, you got niggas talking about selling that dope, trying to get some hope. Got hope. But you know what I'm saying? Now you got crack cocaine, gangster rap music, private prison industry, all that shit set up the perfect storm with the 1992 crime bill. I can go even deeper and show you how they fucked us with the crack. Let me show you how they fucked us with crack. And you got to, again, going back to the understanding of the laws and all that shit there. When it was just cocaine, motherfuckers used to smoke cocaine back then. They called it freebasing. That's when they had to take the ether, put the shit on the plate, put the powder on the plate, because this is the difference between crack cocaine and powder cocaine. And the reason why we started going to jail. When Hillary said that we were motherfucking super predators, this is how we started going to jail. You take that crack cocaine, that powder cocaine, you put it on a plate, you put ether on it and light it. You know why you gotta light cocaine in order to smoke it? Because it has a benzoid element on it. That benzoid chemical will not allow you to smoke regular powder cocaine. So when the United States government, CIA, was doing all this drug trafficking, they was needing a way to shut these Black Panthers down, the hippies, of any organization that was waking up and realizing how corrupt our government was, especially from the Vietnam War, because before then, it was really about heroin. That's where you get the story of that boy, the one that Denzel Washington played, all that shit. It was about heroin. Now they need a way to make make cocaine cheaper to the Black people, so they can destroy a lot of these movements. To the black people, the hippies, all because there was a lot of white people they wanted to destroy too. Anybody that was waking up to the bullshit that the government was doing. They was killing people on universities back in the late 60s and all that shit there. All right, so now during the 60s and 70s, cocaine was big, but it was for the rich people. You might pay almost $200-300 a gram. Just say at least $100 to $200 a gram for a gram of cocaine. All right, this is what they did. They need a way to make this shit cheaper. We can't sell it to the niggas for $100 a gram because niggas ain't got $100. They happy with their heroin. They freebasing the shit. They cooking it down, taking the biz all that. They smoking it. Not just black people smoke, but everybody was smoking and freebase then. They call it freebase. But your government looked at the fact that all we gotta do is heat this shit up. Same thing with freebase. Once you heat powder cocaine up, it'll turn to a jail. If anybody, I could give y'all some real street game. My whip game was strong. It'll turn to a motherfucking jail. Only thing the baking soda does is bring that gel back to a solid form. But once you heat it up and take it to a gel, you have changed the molecular structure. Hence, this is why they're able to give you a manufacturing charge now. Notice if you get busted with cocaine or whatever, they're going to give you possession, manufacture. Soon as you put it in a bag, now you get a distribution charge. They were able to take the 1992 crime bill where, again, Hillary said, like you said, Jackson, boy, they are super predators. They were able to take that bill now and enhance the sentencing. Whereas if a white boy get caught with an ounce of cocaine, he get 5 years. If you get caught with an ounce of crack, now it's possession with manufacturing, which is another 20 years. As soon as you put it in little baggies, that's another 30 years with intent to distribute. That's how cold the game is, bro. And that's how we get fucked because we don't know the law. I didn't know that marijuana in Louisiana give you more time if you get caught selling. If you get caught selling marijuana in Louisiana, believe it or not, y'all, you're going to sound crazy. You get more time than you do for selling crack. Marijuana is a Schedule I drug. You got to look at the scheduling of the drugs. The drugs that's mostly found in the white community, they schedule 4, 5, and shit like that. The shit that's found in our communities is Schedule I and Schedule II. Marijuana is a Schedule I drug. A lot of states and shit are like that are loosening the laws on possession, but get caught selling that shit. Possession of an ounce of marijuana or whatever is just possession. But distribution of marijuana, which is a Schedule I drug, is a mandatory minimum 5 years, maximum 30 here in Louisiana. You know how I know? I had 4 of them motherfuckers. I'm facing 120 years. So we were super predators. You're right, Jackson. I'm gonna get ready to end this video, man. I've been going for an hour or so. Let me see. And did anyone of y'all hit the cash out? Ain't nobody hit the cash out, PayPal, none of that shit. Y'all don't be loving me like y'all say that, but I love y'all so much that even though y'all let me fucking have to pay for all this shit, I be having to decide whether I'm gonna eat food, or eat lunch at work, or should I go and get that motherfucking tablet? Should I go and get that motherfucking that PC? Now I can run this here. Should I get that camera? I be having to think about all that shit there. And compare that with should I eat some work at lunch today? But y'all notice I've been doing the right thing. I've been here for the last 2 weeks now since all this shit going because this shit got serious. It even got to the point where y'all gonna leave me. They take this channel down, I guarantee y'all, it's gonna be like a hole in your heart because you ain't gonna have nobody to tell you the truth. Like tonight, I be spinning off into subject to subject, and I be like just going off. It's because there's so much going on in the world. Never give up. Self-explanatory. I don't. Think about it, Jackson boy. Razzcast said Joe Biden did not use super predators because no, Hillary Clinton called us super predators. You know what Joe Biden said? Joe Biden helped Hillary and Obama craft the crime reform bill in 1992. You know what Joe Biden said? It was Hillary that called a super predator. But Joe Biden said the only thing we can't do to these niggas is hang them publicly. Go back and look at the video. Go back and look at the record, the fact. Joe Biden said the only thing we can't do to these niggas is hang them. Do y'all realize Joe Biden hung out with every racist motherfucking governor in the South when he was real young? Go back and look at his early years. Joe Biden. Go back and look at the whole Democratic Party. Do y'all realize the Democrats was one that started the Ku Klux Klan? It was the fucking Democrats. But now the shit is switched over to the point where we hate the Republicans and the Democrats give you a motherfucking crazy check for your child and you love them motherfuckers. These were the ones: Bill, Hillary, Joe Biden. Who else was in that motherfucking 92? I think Greenspan was over the feds. Kissinger was still in there. Y'all gotta realize the Democrats really never gave a fuck about us. They knew all they had to do was give us some chicken and watermelon flavored Kool-Aid at voting time, and we were gonna vote Democrat because our kids get crazy chicks. Some of us get crazy chicks. So yeah, we're gonna vote Democrat in order to keep getting that goddamn check. This is why the Democrats are flooding the country with all these illegals right now. They need some new niggas. Because most niggas are waking up. The Democrats ain't gave us shit. First few days in office, Joe Biden, one of the first things he motherfucking did, shut the Keystone Pipeline down. That's why part of the reason why you paying all this motherfucking money in gas. One of the second things he did was gave all these constitutional rights to the LGBT community. What has he done for black folks? And this motherfucker been in there almost 2 years now. What has he done for black folks? He did that shit for the LGBT community on the first motherfucking week. Same thing, he shut down the pipeline. He did a lot of shit for the immigrants. He repealed a lot of Trump's motherfucking immigration policies in the first week. What has he done for black folks in 2 years? Remember in that first week when them black folks who went out their way to vote for him, Black Lives Matter and all these representatives came to him, he told them, look, fuck that, man. I can't give y'all shit right now. You know what I'm saying? Just bear with me. I'll give you a little something. But right now, man, that shit ain't, you got to get up off your ass. And this is what he told black folks in his first 2 weeks, but he was giving everybody else motherfucking benefit. Look what they done for the Asian community. No offense to the Asian community, but look what they done for the Asian community. You know why? They know how much motherfucking money, how much economic power the Asians got. Every other motherfucking race did. People that come from India, they fucking thriving. The people that own the gas stations in your neighborhood that selling you all this high ass gas, look what he's doing for them. They finna get even richer. The ones that be selling you loose cigarettes and shit like that, and I ain't got no problem with them doing that. They just hustling. But they make it possible that we can't do the same hustles that they do. Because they need us to go to the prisons, to the penitentiary. A hint again. What's that? I got shut me down. I got 2 more. Shut me down. Yeah, they need us to go to the penitentiary. Like I sheriff here in Shreveport, in Caddo Parish, when they was talking about because you at one time, but about 2 years ago. 3 years ago, Louisiana was leading the motherfucking world per capita in locking people up. Literally, Louisiana had the highest per capita rate on the planet. And that's saying a lot when you got countries like China with 1 billion motherfucking people. India got 1 billion motherfucking people. But Louisiana per capita was locking more niggas up than anywhere on the planet. And when they started rewrite some of these laws to decriminalize some things, and starting to let a lot of people go. You know what the sheriff of Caddo Parish said? I can't let the good, come on, I can't let all these good niggers go. Who fuck gonna wash my cars? Who gonna make these sandwiches and cook the food if I let the good niggers go? This is what your sheriff said. I ain't making this shit up, so they can't sue me or none of this shit. This is what was said. If I let the good inmates go, he ain't say nigga. Now I gotta keep in mind, I just said nigga. But that's what he really meant. I can't let just recently he shut some shit down where here in Louisiana they was talking about they had a law proposed where they was gonna let some low level offenders who might have got a felony take educational courses during their stint in prison. When they get out, they will literally have a degree or a certification where they can go into the elementary schools and teach our kids. He was like, fuck that. We can't let these niggas go around our children. Who better to teach your children, as long as they ain't no pedophiles or no shit like that? That's what we need our kids to understand that what's the consequences in real life. But your sheriff say, fuck that. He shut it down. I'm not gonna send. Instead, give me the money for my reentry program here. So he getting money off the reentry program from the taxpayer. Plus he getting money off the work release. He getting money charging motherfucker $4 for some peanut butter. $5 for a 10-minute phone call. He getting all the motherfucking money on the planet just as the sheriff, but he couldn't let niggas get a degree and come in and teach our babies. Oh, damn, that's wild. Us black have to come together. Now, bro, the other ones are ready. Guess what? I'ma just be real. As long as us niggas are watching shit like Vlad on YouTube, long as you watching Ghost, long as you watching Power, long as you watching Bel Air, long as you listening to NBA Youngboy, long as you listening to the debate, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, long as you playing these goddamn video games, shit gonna only get worse for us. That's just, I hate to be pessimistic, but that's true. It ain't finna get no better for us. Because you know why? We're following the culture. I've been telling y'all this for almost 2-3 years now. That boy Tim Wilson, the one he played in WKRP Cincinnati. He's a star. He's been on TV and movies and all that. But he told you, yeah, these white folks can put a few black people in there. They want a few images and all that, but they're dictating our motherfucking culture. Why is it that all the shows and shit that they get us, you either selling pussy, selling dope, or killing a motherfucker? Even in your music, even in your sports, these niggas ain't killing each other, but they beating the shit out of people. They run around here drunk driving, killing motherfuckers. And do you realize they're giving us a culture of destruction? This shit ain't gonna never get no better for us until we turn that goddamn radio off, turn the TV off, and take these damn phones away from our children. This is a culture, man. This shit ain't got nothing to do with white supremacy, and the fact that white supremacy is giving us the culture of death and destruction. Why the fuck you think we've been here 400 years and we still are a minority? Because if we can send them to prison, if we can abort their babies, if we can get them to kill each other, but most importantly, if we can get a man to say he a woman, none of these 4 groups can reproduce their numbers, bro. And this is the culture they gave us. They're giving us. We'll never come out this shit, bro, until we actually realize that the shit that we treasure the most is the worst shit that's for us. Our TVs, our phones. A lot of times, our motherfucking jobs, because a lot of times you got a lot of niggas that could have a real serious influence for the community, but they can't say shit because they got jobs that watch their Facebook account. And if them niggas say one thing wrong, they get fired and lose that high 6-figure ass job every year. So they'll play a role, they'll donate some water, give out a few backpacks at school time, and have a little dance in the park where they give some chicken, some watermelon, and some motherfucking strawberry Kool-Aid, and niggas come out and forget about their misery for that hour and a half, then have to go right back home and figure out how they gonna eat tomorrow. Now, this shit ain't finna get no better for us until we put that shit down that they are giving to us. They're not just giving it to us, they're giving it to everybody else. But notice the culture that they give to us. You ever notice Eminem and all them motherfucking white boy rappers and all these white musicians, they got to talk about killing each other? Now, they may be talking about satanistic type shit, but they ain't talking about killing each other, selling no motherfucking dope or no shit like that, fucking 3,000 bitches. They want us to kill each other, sell dope, And while we doing that, we going to the penitentiary at the same time. While we doing that, we going to the penitentiary, and niggas going to the penitentiary like Jesse Smollett. How many niggas you? That's why they really put Jesse Smollett in psychiatric custody here or whatever, because they know he was gonna get raped, probably, most likely. Somebody won't take it from him. The world is a big motherfucking place, but if we keep looking right here on what's in front of us instead of getting out the box and looking at everything in the 360 degrees, you'll never catch it. You cannot see the complete puzzle just looking at one piece of that motherfucker. In order to put a puzzle together, you got to visualize the whole puzzle. That's why they give you the picture of the motherfucking puzzle on the box. You got to visualize everything outside that one piece. Most of us black people in America can't overlook the fact that we're getting killed by the police. There's way more shit going on than that. Same people now that's selling you gas is able to go up now $3 by the end of April. You're gonna see almost a $3 gallon rise in gas. Guess what? How many niggas in your neighborhood got gas stations? You wanna know why? All the people that got a gas station come from the countries. They got the goddamn oil. Think about this. The ones that's selling you black women, you beautiful black queens, the hair come from the countries that make the motherfucking hair. China and other countries in Asia. Do you realize this? The Indians coming over here, they just taking over motherfucking hotels and emergency rooms. Everybody prospering in America. We can prosper on an individual scale, but collectively, it's not set up for us to prosper as a people. Because when you look at the bigger picture as black people, they got some niggas that's called gatekeepers that don't want you and I to get degrees. They tell us education is fucked up, it's bad problem, it's white supremacy, but they got 3 degrees. If white supremacy is such a goddamn problem with education, how the fuck you get 3 degrees? Why can't you show me how to get 1? You know why? Because you get that 1 degree, you become a threat to them. So they gonna put a bunch of us as gatekeepers to keep the rest of us from walking through the gate, bro. We're strong and smart, I believe, in hard work. All we need is 3 acres and a mule. Fuck that. No, we need more than 3 acres and a mule. You know what we need? We need probably about a whole 2 or 3 states so that we can create our own agriculture, so that we can create our own hospitals, so that we can create our own schools. But most importantly, you can have 3 acres and a mule, but if you got to go to them white folks' banks and ain't got your own, they're not going to even give you the motherfucking money to buy the plow, to plow that 3 acres and grow your own food. So now, we need them 4 institutions. We need hospitals, we need schools, we need banks, and we need to be able to feed ourselves. Look how it's working out for us, depending on these white folks to sell us food at the grocery store. They got a big issue coming up now here in Shreveport and Carroll Parish. Should people be allowed to keep chickens in their backyard inside the city of Shreveport? Why the fuck not? If you say no, they're not, that means you are part of a corporate motherfucking system that want us to go into these grocery stores and pay $12 for 5 motherfucking leg quarters. But if you're able to grow your own motherfucking chicken, do you think you need these grocery stores? Be able to grow. If you had 20 chickens, 2 pigs, motherfucking 1 cow, 2 cows, male and female, each one. Do you think you'd be dependent on the grocery store and you had enough land to grow your own corn, grow your own wheat? Do you think you'd be dependent on the grocery store? Fuck no. So you need the capital to basically expand that 3 acres and a mule. Because again, if you got 3 acres and you got a mule, the only thing you can do is ride that mule around your motherfucking acres if you ain't got no plow to plow that ground up and plant you some motherfucking food. But if you don't take 1 acre to hold you some cows, chicken, pigs, motherfucking whatever you need for as meat, if you're not doing that with your 3 acres and a mule, You just got 3 motherfucking acres and a mule, and guess what? 20 years from now, all this shit gonna be dead. You don't have the economic capacity to develop those 3 acres and a mule. Again, going back to the banking system. The banking system is set up for us not to have that. Anyway, I've been going for a whole hour and a half right now. And again, I'm gonna have to. What I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start downloading these YouTube videos that I do live like this. And once I download them, I'm gonna take the live video off, and I'll come back, cut it into segments, and add news sources or whatever I need to add to it in the editing process, and we're gonna give y'all snippets. But I'm gonna take the live video down off YouTube and some kind of way start incorporating everything to Rumble, because I see right now YouTube will not let me get my monetization, and the subscriber to this channel will not donate. But we got a few of them. That's how I've been able to get where we at now. This, y'all notice this picture look prettier. You know, I might be ugly as fuck. The picture looks a lot prettier, it's a lot better quality. It's because I'm trying to upgrade this, man. But I need y'all's help. Think about it. I've been going for an hour and a half right now, and all the videos that I do, YouTube, even though YouTube is suppressing, think about it, just today alone, we still got 6 new subscribers. Now, if y'all subscribe, please make sure you hit that bell. Make sure y'all hit that bell to get your notifications. While you here, again, when you come on here, man, you all comments are the most important part. Because I go off and start talking, and I get frustrated when nobody's talking back, and I'll end the video at 15 minutes. But see, I've been going an hour and a half, and I had forgot to even look at you all's comments. I had not even mentioned one time that we need y'all support. Man, I've been asking, but started that about 5 days ago. I say, well, hey, nigga need $130. And since then, I hustle up on most of it. At the end of the day, I say, man, we need 60 y'all to get $10. Yesterday and today, ain't nobody gave shit to this channel. But guess what? I ain't knocking the subscribers of the channel, because everybody got to pay gas and all this shit. But it should make you feel some type of way. You depend on the information that the Creator is giving me to give to you. And you go to church and get pastor money on Sundays to lie to you. Or you just want to have that extra smoothie latte or whatever for lunch or whatever. And then after all that, you spend all this $15, $20 extra a day. And all I'm asking, nigga, man, 10 of y'all donate $6. I remember this one lady say, it's 3 of y'all in the car. Y'all can't come up with $1. She had asked me, my brother, my sister-in-law, for $1. And then none of them had no change. And then everybody had credit card or whatever. She said, you mean tell me 3 of y'all in the car and y'all can't come up on $1? But then when I don't do these videos, everybody be like, where you at, Real News Behind News? And I'm like, shit, I'm not finna waste up my data on my Wi-Fi. You know? But right now, I ain't got no choice. So if y'all really like what I do, man, this only appeal I can make. Man, all that shit going down at the bottom of the screen while I'm pointing at it, it say right now, please help to support this channel. Cash App, $, the Real News 3. PayPal, http www.paypal.me, the Real News 3. Venmo, at the Real News 3. 4 days now, they've been asking to help me, man, come up with $60. And ain't nobody. We had one person in last week gave us 10, and $5 would be cool. $3 would be cool, really, because $3 will fucking help me get a charger with my phone. Let me switch this charger. Yeah, I done broke my last charger. That's why I can't do the phone. I had to pull out the tablet. I mean, nigga don't be sitting up here just begging for no motherfucking money, but do y'all realize that it's little simple expenses that it costs to do this shit? I can't get a microphone. I can't get none of that shit. I can get a tablet, but if I ain't got no camera, microphone, or PC or something, a real good laptop to run this shit through, it's gonna always be me sitting this motherfucker looking like an old ass motherfucking gangster. Old, handsome, but somewhat ugly type ass gangster, bringing y'all some real shit that ain't nobody else telling you. Everybody else trying to bring you motherfucking, I guess you could say, tabloid type shit. Think about it. If I was doing video games or just talking about sports or talking about motherfucking the latest thing that happened on Power or Bel Air, if I was talking about that shit, man, I wouldn't have to worry about shit. I have a channel that would be self sufficient. But here I am bringing y'all the real news behind news. Everybody love what we do, and I thank you all for you all support. But nobody really support us. So if this is my last appeal. After this, if y'all notice that this nigga ain't been, I'm gonna do a video tomorrow, and after I finish setting this Rumble up, I'm gonna put the link on it. But Rumble already is saying that this is what you can projectedly make, and then I'm looking at it like, well, fuck, why would I be on YouTube? And YouTube won't even accept my ID now. I'm not gonna give up, Jackson boy, but at the same time, I'm not gonna keep struggling the way I am. I'm not tripping and off of the shit because really I get out and get what's needed to take care of myself. But this shit here really is extra shit. This shit extra, and the extra shit costs data on your phone or your Wi-Fi. Either way it goes, they gotta pay to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's none of the subscriber fault, but shit. If I mean, come on, the church saying you go to church and say, pastor say, well, you gotta keep the electric on in God's house. Nigga, this ain't God's house. I mean, if that's the case, then who house? It's 12 churches on this block. Which one of them? You mean tell me God got 12 churches on this block, and all of them get at least $5 per person every Sunday in tithes and offering? And then the person leave the church and be asking me, "What you had real news behind news?" Shit, I'm out here trying to get $10, man, so I can fucking get me some lunch meat for the rest of the work, for the rest of the week at work. Fuck doing a video, but I do them anyway. I mean, I'm just keeping this shit real. My lot of motherfuckers, you know, bitch, I don't ask nobody for money. I make an appeal, but shit, don't pastor do the same goddamn thing? Don't March a Dime, Salvation Army ask y'all for donations. Y'all donate to them motherfuckers. How many of y'all have donated to these motherfucking relief organizations for the Ukraine? I'm looking at a lot of my Facebook page. They asked me today, would you like to donate something to the relief organization for the Ukraine? 300 of your friends have already donated. I'm like, you must be out your goddamn mind. Why would I donate money to a bunch of fucking neo-Nazis, and I'm trying to struggle to keep a YouTube channel up telling people why not to donate to that shit? Yeah, what it is. Love it or hate it, I'm going to keep doing the real news behind the news, but whatever source. I'm going to say this, I'm going to go. And you got to realize how many different organizations, different groups, different businesses, different people have tried to and would love to sponsor this show, but I turn them down, knowing that this could be an easy 500, maybe in some cases $500 to $1,000 a month just for these 3-4 organizations that believe the same thing and want me to say what it is that they want me to say. But you know why I don't take their money? Because they want me to say what they want me to say. I'm broke doing this shit right now because I say what the fuck God put in my heart to tell you all. I keep it real. Hold on a second. All right, y'all. I apologize for that. But we're going to go ahead and end this video. It's getting late. And before I go to bed, I want to finish setting this Rumble up. I'm going to be real. If I can see, I can keep my same message without being censored, and at the same time, just make money off people watching the videos, not asking people to donate. Which one of y'all think I'm spending more time on? It's simple economics, man. I can't keep, you know what I'm saying? I can't keep just not I can't keep going with the channel not supporting itself. Even though something as simple as doing a fucking video again. Look how long I've been on here, 2 hours. Y'all realize how many gigabytes of Wi-Fi it is? When the gigabyte's over, I gotta go pay more just to do another video. Which I don't mind, but at the same time, I do kind of be like, fuck, man. I might well go sell dope. Hey, this your boy Rod Thomas Jr. I'm finna end this video, man. I thank y'all for spending the last, what, 2 hours, almost 2 hours with me. But right now, man, let me see what we at. Okay, right now, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, and I'll be doing what I do every day. I'm gonna be consistent. I'll be knowing the devil, I'll be wanting me to be consistent. Make sure you hit that little bell next to subscribe. That way you can get notifications, because I'm gonna be dropping video constantly over the next. As long as this situation is like it is in the world and here in our in America and even in our communities, it's getting worse every day. And the things again that God showed me 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years ago is now manifesting. And back at that time, I was like, man, I'm not gonna say that shit. These folks gonna think I'm crazy. That's why I haven't been consistent. But now that these things have come to pass, I'm here to give y'all the real news behind news. Think about that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell. Please, if you can, look at that shit going down at the bottom. Help me get this other little, actually this little device. But other than that, I'm not gonna ask for shit, man. I just do what I normally do. Trust in the Creator. Till y'all see me again tomorrow. Hey, man, y'all be blessed.